Hey you lot, and welcome to another episode of News You Might Have Missed. I'm your host Tom Lord, and on this show we look at a mighty mix of eclectic excerpts, ranging from news outlets, blogs and tabloid rags based around the globe. On today's show we've got South Korean firms offering $75,000 for workers to have babies. Runaway Indian freight train travels 70 kilometres without a driver. And American Big Mac enthusiast eats his verified 34,000th Big Mac. But first, Tesla repays pie shop after last-minute 4,000 pie cancellation. According to ABC 7 News, the cancellation cost the Giving Cafe thousands of dollars. But after the small bakery owner's story went viral, Tesla's responded with some actual cash. According to the cafe's owner, Tesla initially ordered 2,000 pies, which later doubled to 4,000 pies, which was then cancelled abruptly. According to the bakery owner, this has never happened in their experience with large corporations. And Tesla has said that the representative she worked with had mistakenly told her payment was guaranteed and on its way when it was not. But days after the cancellation, the cafe owner's story went viral. And Elon Musk himself said, "Just hearing about this. We'll make things good with the bakery. People should always be able to count on Tesla trying its best." An hour after the interview with ABC 7 News, the cafe owner confirmed that Tesla had officially repaid the $2,000 that she was out for purchase of the ingredients. She later said, "We're all humans, we all make mistakes, so if they want to work with me, and they're not bitter about the whole experience, then yes, I'd love to." To be fair to Tesla, I too have ordered things on a whim and then regretted it. I once ordered a Kangol hat, 24 litres of washing up liquid, and when I was a child, a signed photo of Rolf Harris. South Korean firms are offering $75,000 for their workers to have children. Two South Korean firms, the Buyong Group and the Sasangbang Wool Group, announced their birth programs this month. This was down to the fertility rate in South Korea being 0.78, far lower than the 2.1 it needs to maintain its population. Not only that, in Seoul, municipal authorities are giving $750 per month until the child reaches the age of 1. This is mainly down to the South Korean president Yoon Suk-yeol ordering his administration to develop tax incentives and subsidies for companies that encourage their employees to have children. 75 grand for a baby? Sounds a lot, but when you sat out for the 20th night in a row with sick down your pants and Eagle Piggle hauntingly watching you from the downstairs TV, in some respects, it's nowhere near enough. A woman has lost a £650,000 injury claim after she was pictured in a charity Christmas tree throwing competition. Look at this, Herbert. A court in Ireland has dismissed this mother's $820,000 insurance claim after that picture emerged. Camilla Grabska, 36, had claimed that a car accident in 2017 had left her with debilitating pain, unable to lift any heavy bags, and keeping her in bed on very bad days. She said that the constant pain in her back, neck and thoracic spine left her unable to lift groceries, do chores or play with her children, and she had sued RSA Insurance on the basis that she could not work for over 5 years, claiming past and future loss of earnings that amounted to a total of $542,000. But she came unstuck when that photo was published, a year after her accident, which showed her winning a Christmas tree throwing competition. Pretty silly then, being so public about throwing Christmas trees. But if she'd have been more pubic about her own bush via OnlyFans, then perhaps she'd have had her house paid off, a booked holiday to Mauritius, and a new Tesla on the driveway. A homeless man has been arrested for building a cabin on a park and using an excavator to mine for gold. This story, coming from Como News, says that the man who is facing criminal charges for digging up a hillside of a Seattle city park with an excavator has now returned to the site to build a cabin and claims to be carving out a mine to search for gold. The man, who is called Steve Irwin, claims he has permission to build the cabin, which now has washing machines, propane heaters, multiple generators, and even a treadmill. Apparently park stewards and neighbours have been trying to get the city's attention to the issues Irwin is causing for months. A neighbour said, "This guy's just getting away with it, and I don't understand that. We are absolutely frustrated. We need some civility here. We need police action." Another person said, "He's dreaming up that this is a gold mine, that he's mining for diamonds, and that he's going to find gold and strike it rich." To be fair, this guy does look like he's living without any consequences. But if I was living in a smack-induced fantasy, I'm fairly sure that digging for gold would be the least of the council's worries. Maybe just give him a CSCS card and stick him on trench digging? I don't know. An air freshener in a Dutch house has exploded, damaging the windows. According to RTL News and Omrap Gelderland, the explosion took place in a house in Fokkinkweg. I'm a child. Apparently the air freshener aerosol itself exploded on the top floor, and there was a resident downstairs at the time which heard the bang. The report reckons the air freshener could have exploded because it was placed close to a kerosene heater. It was that pressure wave that broke the windows. Residents of nearby houses were also evacuated by police until they had determined the cause of the explosion. After the cause of the explosion was determined, the neighbours were allowed to return. Devastating, obviously. Your front windows destroyed, family photos strewn about the place, perhaps even a carpet that's been ruined. But I bet for just a split second, the family sofa had never smelt so good. A Runaway Indian freight train travels 70 kilometres without its driver. The 53 wagon train was on its way to Punjab from Jammu when it stopped in Kathua for a crew change. It was then when it began moving down a slope on the railway tracks after the train driver and his assistant got off. The train then moved at a speed of nearly 100 kilometres an hour and managed to cross about 5 stations before it was stopped. And it was only stopped when officials placed wood blocks on the tracks to try and stop the train. I bet when the driver of the train woke up that morning, explaining this exact situation to his boss wouldn't have been something that he'd choose. A man has vanished after an alleged $500,000 crypto error in his favour. According to ABC News Australia, a Mildura man has allegedly pocketed hundreds of thousands of dollars in cryptocurrency after a trading platform mistakenly credited his account with 995,000 Australian dollars instead of 99,000 Australian dollars. The trading company themselves, Rhino Trading, have asked for the money back, but as the man hasn't responded, they've asked the courts to issue an asset freeze. They've also applied for an injunction preventing him from leaving Australia. The money went in on the 25th of January 2024, but the company did not pick the error up until February the 4th. Over the 10 days after the bank error was made, the man withdrew 956,000 Australian dollars. And when the company tried to phone the man, the person who answered said that it was not the number of that person, and he did not respond to requests by email. I'm not being funny, but every time I do a bank payment, it says, make sure you know who you're paying it to. Make sure you don't make any mistakes. To me, it's just a case of finders keepers, losers weepers. Good luck to you, mate. Fair play to you. And I'm not jealous, but the last time I got a bank error was when I got a double refund for a pair of boxer shorts. Not the same. Glasgow has cancelled its Willy Wonka-esque experience after guests compared it to a meth lab. According to the Daily Mail, parents were left furious when they turned up to an immersive Willy Wonka event, and their children were left sobbing when it turned out to be a tiny bounty castle and a small lollipop. Irate parents slammed the £35 a ticket event in Glasgow as an absolute shambles, after being promised it was a universe where dreams come true and it would make memories that last a lifetime. That last part, I think they achieved. Look at some of the photos from this event. Willy's chocolate experience, that's the chocolate factory, and here's your meth lab. According to a lady who actually went to the event, she paid £65 for 2 adults and 2 children. When she got there, the event itself only took 2 minutes to go around, and actually so many people had already complained that the police had shut it down. Yeah, take a look at this video of this villain just climbing out.
My God, what is that? It's the unknown.
I'm not being funny, and there's probably something quite wrong with me, but £35 a person to see kids' dreams crushed before their very eyes seems like money well spent. Elon Musk's Las Vegas Tesla train tube keeps racking up safety violations. According to workers, they say its tunnels are packed with chemical sludge. Apparently the accelerants that cure the grout that seals the tunnel's concrete supports seriously burn exposed human skin. An investigation by OSHA has described workers being permanently scarred on their arms and legs. And in an interview with Business Week, one of the tunnel workers recalls the feeling of the exposure to the chemicals. He said, "You'd be like, why am I on fire?" Apparently what happens in Vegas doesn't stay in Vegas then. It's not just the clap that follows you home and makes your wife ask questions. A miniature fish has been found to make a sound as loud as a gunshot. According to The Guardian, scientists have found that Danionella cerebrum, as big as an adult human fingernail, can create noises exceeding 140 decibels. The scientists have found that the fish has a unique sound reproduction system, a specialised rib, and a fatigue-resistant muscle. To produce the sound, a rib that lies next to the swim bladder is moved by a special muscle into a piece of cartilage. When the rib is released, it hits the swim bladder and makes the drumming sound. The rib is also much harder in males, which explains why the females do not produce these sounds. Scientists suggest it could help them navigate murky waters, or be an aggression tactic used by males to warn off competition. Is no open water safe then, if it's not the fish that can swim up you while you're having a whiz or bloody jaws? It's fish that can make you deaf. I think I'll just stick to doing widths at a local Veruca breeding pool. A British Airways supervisor is accused of a £3 million international visa scam. According to The Guardian, the 24-year-old suspect is believed to have been helping passengers claim asylum in Canada. He then absconded to India following his arrest. The British Airways check-in supervisor is alleged to have charged £25,000 to wave people through Terminal 5 and onto planes without checking their visa documentation. The majority of travellers who benefited were Indian citizens planning to claim asylum in Canada and who were told to fly from India to the UK on a temporary visitor visa, subsequently go to his check-in desk at Terminal 5 where he could falsely enter on the system that he had seen proof of a visa. He would also process passengers at the boarding gate. Surely without all the proper documents though, they're just stuck floating around Niagara Falls, stomach packed to the gills with poutine, and wondering if is yes or just a polite sentence ending. An Indonesian man shoves a toothbrush down his penis during sex, which then snaps, requiring medical attention. According to the Mail Online, doctors revealed the 43-year-old waited 12 hours before seeking medical attention for his eye-watering injury. Apparently medics were told that he'd first made a small incision in his penis to put toothbrushes down his penis in 2017. But it was unclear whether the toothbrush in question had been in place since that time or whether he had had others taken out. Look at that, no! Apparently the man required a 2-hour operation to repair his fractured penis, and he has sustained this penile injury during sexual intercourse with the woman in the on-top position the night before. Top tip then, if you don't want to have a toothbrush surgically removed from your wiener, do not, and I repeat, do not, put a toothbrush in your wiener. American Big Mac enthusiast eats his verified 34,000th Big Mac, according to Guinness World Records. After consuming another 720 more Big Macs throughout 2023, Donald Gorski has extended his world record for the most Big Mac burgers eaten in a lifetime. Don's record now stands at 34,128 Big Macs eaten in a lifetime. Apparently the now 70-year-old retired prison officer from Fond du Lac, Wisconsin, ate his first Big Mac almost 52 years ago. According to a statement by the man himself, "In that moment I said, I'm probably going to eat these for the rest of my life. I threw the cartons in the back seat and started counting them from day one." He has kept track of every single Big Mac he's eaten since that day and still has all the containers and receipts. And when he first began eating Big Macs, Don would have up to 9 per day. Now he just eats 2, one for lunch and one for dinner. So if you too want to eat the weight of a crane and a helicopter in Big Macs, I suggest you go back to the future in a Back to the Future style time travel. Find your 18-year-old self and tell them to dedicate their lives to mid-burgers, vitamin deficiency and coronary heart disease. HP now wants you to rent your printer. According to Ars Technica, HP has launched a subscription service today that rents people a printer, allots them a specific amount of printed pages and sends them ink for a monthly fee. Prices range from $6.99 a month for 20 printed pages, up to $35.99 a month for 700 printed pages. According to the article, the link with HP will also mean that you never run out of ink. They'll send you ink when you're low and provide 24/7 customer support. But the service doesn't cover damage or failure caused by use of non-HP supplies or other products. Not only that, it's going to monitor what you're doing and vaguely any other metrics that HP thinks are related to the subscription. Creepily, the terms of service say, "You hereby grant HP to a non-exclusive, worldwide, royalty-free right to use, copy, store, transmit, modify, create derivative works of, and display your non-personal data for its business purposes." Right, so 35 quid a month for 2 years and basically get all your data stolen. Well played, HP. But I've got a better solution. Get a nerdy mate, use his printer whenever you want, and it doesn't cost you a thing. A nuclear weapons factory in Texas has been forced to evacuate due to wildfires. According to The Independent, wildfires sweeping across Texas briefly forced the evacuation of America's main nuclear weapons facility, as strong winds, dry grass, and unseasonably warm temperatures fed the blaze. This involves a Pantex plant, the main facility that assembles and disassembles America's nuclear arsenal. A spokesperson said, "We have evacuated our personnel, non-essential personnel, from the site. just in an abundance of caution. But we do have a well-equipped fire department that's trained for these scenarios. There's on-site, watching, and ready should any kind of real emergency arise on the plant site. Pantex then reopened and resumed operations as normal on the Wednesday morning. Nice to see then that nuclear weapons are also affected by climate change. But it does make me think that the average James Bond villain has a better idea of a nuclear weapons production location than the US military. Texas is suing Pornhub after the website failed to put up a warning saying that porn weakens brain function. According to the Courthouse News Service, Republican Texas attorney Ken Paxton filed a lawsuit in state court in Austin on Monday, which accused Pornhub of violating House Bill 1181. HB 1181 means that porn websites must use reasonable age verification methods to ensure the people accessing the material aren't under 18. It also orders such websites to post controversial health warnings that pornography weakens brain function, is proven to harm human brain development, and is associated with low self-esteem, body image, eating disorders, impaired brain development, and other emotional and mental illnesses. All this built up tension from Texas. Perhaps they just need to get into their comfortable dressing gown, put on their favourite tickle, and rub one out in the name of the 21st century. And finally, geriatric post office robbers apprehended by Italian police. According to The Guardian, a gang of 6 alleged robbers in their 60s and 70s, known for carrying out a series of armed burglaries, have been arrested by police in Italy. The gang's leader was a 70-year-old Italio De Witt and a 75-year-old who played the role of lookout. Apparently a 68-year-old man was the main person responsible for carrying out the robberies, while a 66-year-old made replica keys and 2 masons in their early 50s drilled holes to facilitate the thieves' access. According to La Repubblica, another planned robbery was scuppered because the 66-year-old gang member was having incontinence issues and needed an operation on his prostate. The run of heists came to an end when a burglar of a post office in the Don Bosco area went awry. Good news then, if you're an elderly person thinking about getting back to work and you dread the thought of becoming a greeter at Asda, then perhaps armed robbery is for you. Thanks for watching. Please like, subscribe and comment about any of the news that you've seen this week. Also, if you think there's any news that we might have missed, please get in contact on the email below. See you next time for another jam-packed news you might have missed. Stay gravy.